Thank you. Thank you. So we begin, Oklahoma, we begin. Thank you, Oklahoma. And thank you to Vice President Mike Pence. We begin our campaign. We begin our campaign, and I just want to thank all of you. You are warriors. I've been watching the fake news for weeks now, and everything is negative. Don't go, don't come, don't do anything. Today it was like, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. You are warriors. Thank you. We had some very bad people outside. We had some very bad people outside. They were doing bad things. But I really do. I appreciate it. We have just a tremendous group of people in Oklahoma. And I hear from your two great senators and your governor that we're doing very well in Oklahoma. That's the word. That's the word. I stand before you today to declare the silent majority is stronger than ever before. 5 months from now, we're going to defeat Sleepy Joe Biden. Boy, does he get a pass from these people, huh? We're going to stop the radical left. We're going to build a future of safety and opportunity for Americans of every race, color, religion, and creed. Republicans are the party of liberty, equality, and justice for all. We are the party of Abraham Lincoln, and we are the party of law and order. Think of what we've done. We will have close to 300 federal judges appointed and approved by the end of my first time. That's an all-time record. That's an all-time record. I've always heard how important judges are. Now we know how important they are. Think of that, over 300, around 300 by the end of the term. And when we have another 4 years, we're going to have a big, big percentage of the total number. Very important. November 3rd. And two great Supreme Court judges. So we have two justices of the Supreme Court. Justice Gorsuch, Justice Kavanaugh. They're great. They're great. They're great. We have two. And we could get a few more. Yeah, we could get a few more. We've spent over $2 trillion to completely rebuild the unmatched strength and power of the United States military. And all of that incredible equipment, whether it's submarines or missiles or rockets or jet fighters, bombers, it's all built in the USA. We passed VA choice. Thank you very much, Jim. Where's my senator? Jim Inhofe. You better vote for him. He's running. He's great. But we'll get to him and James Lankford in a second. Two great senators. You have two great senators. So we passed VA choice. So if you're a veteran, for years and years, they've wanted to do it for almost 50 years. We got it done. We get a lot of things done. And so if you're a veteran and you have to wait online for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks, 2 months, what happens is you go outside, you get a private doctor, you get fixed up, and they pay your bill. We take care of the bill. We take care of the bill, and you get immediate service. It's never happened before, and our approval rating at the VA is now 91%. That's how good it is. Never been anywhere near that number. Never been anywhere near that number. And VA accountability. We had a lot of bad people in the VA, people that didn't love our vets, people that were sadistic, people that stole, a lot of bad people. You couldn't get rid of them because they were, let's say it could be unions, it could be civil service, right? Let's just say. And so you couldn't get it done. That was another one. For decades and decades, they wanted to get it changed. And I got it done with those people and your congressman, too. Your congressman, who I'm going to introduce. VA accountability, and now somebody treats our veterans badly. And we look at them, and what do we say? We say, you're fired, get out, right? Get out. They got rid of a lot of bad people that were there for a long time, sort of like me in Washington, draining the swamp. I never knew it was so deep, but it's happening. It's happening. I never knew it was so deep. It's deep and thick and a lot of bad characters. Thank you. We're lowering the price of prescription drugs, making our allies pay their fair share. They get a big bargain on drug prices, and enacting fair trade deals that finally, after all these years, put America first. I've been saying it for a long time. We passed the largest tax cuts in the history of our country. The Democrats want to raise your taxes. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. I guess I'm old-fashioned. You know, all my life, I heard politicians want to lower taxes, not raise them. If you could lower them, you couldn't lose. The Democrats want to substantially raise your taxes. How do you figure that? How do you figure that? And regulation cuts, we passed more regulation cuts than any administration in the history of our country. And with the help of our great energy workers, many of them come from the great state of Oklahoma. Do you ever notice that Biden, do you ever notice that Biden oftentimes gets the state wrong? He's in Iowa, and he says, it's good to be in Idaho. No, you're in Iowa. He's in New Hampshire, and he says, it's great to be in Ohio. No, you're in New Hampshire. That happens to him all the time. Hasn't happened to me yet. You know, when that happens, there's nothing you can do to make up for it. You might as well just walk off the stage because the speech is a disaster. Right? But we just turned the United States into the dominant energy superpower of the world, And because of the Chinese virus, what happened about 3 months ago, it looked like we were in big trouble, and we were, and I got it back together. I called Russia. I called Russia. I called Saudi Arabia. And believe it or not, I called Mexico. Mexico was a little bit tough. That's called OPEC Plus. Did you ever hear of OPEC Plus? That's OPEC plus plus. And we got them to do the right thing, and we have our energy back to up almost $40 a barrel, meaning you have an energy business again. Almost $40 a barrel. A couple of months ago, it was 0, and we were going to lose 10 million energy jobs, 10 million jobs. So Texas and Oklahoma and North Dakota and many other states would have been hurt. Now, you think you're going to be hurt there? You try putting AOC in charge of your energy. That will make the pandemic look like child's play to the people in energy. She has one problem, it's called petroleum. No president or administration has done more in the first 3.5 years than the Trump administration. Not even close. Nobody. Our incredible success in rebuilding America stands in stark contrast to the extremism and destruction and violence of the radical left. We just saw it outside. You just saw it outside. You saw these thugs that came along. These people call them protesters. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. No, they're so wonderful. They call them the Boston Tea Party. That's so wonderful. Yeah, they call them. You ever watch fake news CNN? You ever watch where they go? How about the CNN anchor? How about the CNN anchor? You know, did a little shave job in the head, which is fine. And he's standing in front of a building saying things are very peaceful here. And the building is, it looks like the biggest fire I've ever seen. The whole town is burning. It's like the biggest fire. And he said, things are very good here, Anderson. I think it's good. I think it's good. These are wonderful people, Anderson. You ever see that? Looked like the world was coming to an end. And you know, we did something in Minneapolis. After watching for 3 or 4 days, I called. I said, you got to get out. You can't protect yourselves. I got them to take 8,000 National Guardsmen. And in 1 hour, it all ended. And they rode through the next 3 weeks with no problem. And we did the same thing in other cities. But how about Seattle? Isn't that great? So they take over a big chunk of a city called Seattle. I mean, we're not talking about some little place. We're talking about Seattle. Have you ever been to Seattle? They took over a big, and the governor, who's radical left, all of these places I talk about are Democrat. You know that. Every one of them. Every one of them. And I have an offer out. I said, anytime you want, we'll come in, we'll straighten it out in 1 hour or less. Now, I may be wrong, but it's probably better for us to just watch that disaster. I flew in with some of our great congressmen who we're going to introduce in a second, and I said to them, Congressman, what do you think? I can straighten it out fast. Should we just go in? No, sir. Let it simmer for a little while. Let people see what radical left Democrats will do to our country. Right? But Americans have watched left-wing radicals burn down buildings, loot businesses, destroy private property, injure hundreds of dedicated police officers. These police officers, they get injured. They don't complain. They're incredible. And injure thousands upon thousands of people only to hear the radical fake news say what a beautiful rally it was. And they never talk about COVID. They don't talk about when you see 25,000 people walking down Fifth Avenue or walking down a street of a Democrat-run city. You never hear them saying, they're not wearing their mask. You don't hear them say, as they're breaking windows and running in And then when I say the looters, the anarchists, the agitators, they say, what a terrible thing for our president to say. What a terrible thing. But you don't hear them talking about COVID. COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. And despite the fact that I have done a phenomenal job with it, I shut down the United States to very heavily infected, but all people from China in late January, which is months earlier than other people would have done it if they would have done it at all. I saved hundreds of thousands of lives. We don't ever get even a mention. Then I closed it down to Europe early. Closed it down because I saw what was happening. And by the way, most people said, don't do it. Don't do it. We saved hundreds of thousands of lives. And all we do is get hit on like we're terrible. And what we've done with the ventilators and with the medical equipment and with testing, you know, testing is a double-edged sword. We've tested now 25 million people. It's probably 20 million people more than anybody else. Germany's done a lot. South Korea's done a lot. They call me, they say, the job you're doing, here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests if people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's a case. Add him to it. That's a case. That's a case. I was actually with a very nice man, very good man, even though he's very liberal, the governor of New Jersey, right? We know him? Now listen, he said to me something that's amazing. New Jersey was very heavily hit, very hard hit, thousands of people. He said with thousands of people that died, thousands of people, there was only one person that died under the age of 18. Would you believe that? Which tells me one thing, that kids are much stronger than us. When you see a little kid running around, say, boy, oh boy, do you have a great immune system. How about a piece of your immune system? They don't even know about this. Let's open the schools, please. Open. Open the schools. We got to get them open. In the fall, we got to get them open. The unhinged left-wing mob is trying to vandalize our history, desecrate our monuments, our beautiful monuments, tear down our statues, and punish, cancel, and persecute anyone who does not conform to their demands for absolute and total control. We're not conforming. That's why we're here, actually. This cruel campaign of censorship and exclusion violates everything we hold dear as Americans. They want to demolish our heritage so they can impose their new oppressive regime in its place. They want to defund and dissolve our police departments. Think of that. You know, I heard it for the first time 2 weeks ago. I said, well, that one, I mean, they're only kidding. I said, they're not. Minneapolis, you see what's going on? They're not kidding. They got a lot of problems. They'll have a lot of problems. Hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And a very tough, I've used the word on occasion, hombre. A very tough hombre is breaking into the window of a young woman whose husband is away as a traveling salesman or whatever he may do. And you call 911, and they say, I'm sorry, this number is no longer working. By the way, you have many cases like that, many, whether it's a young woman, an old woman, a young man, or an old man, and you're sleeping. So what are you going to do, right? So they wanted to fund, they really do. This is a serious movement. And in Minneapolis, the council's already passed it. In Seattle, you see what's going on there. It's even worse, okay? These people are stone cold crazy. They're crazy. So if you want to save your heritage, you want to save that beautiful heritage of ours. We have a great heritage. We're a great country. You are so lucky I'm president. That's all I can tell you.